Hey everyone, this is Dave here from Snowboat Tesla. We're going to show the May 15th launch of the Starlink mission, plus a couple ride shares from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. We're going to compress this 2-hour launch into a 7-minute video. During the countdown, they're just describing what's going on. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing. You'll notice in the top left-hand corner the speeding up that is going to occur in order to get this in 7 minutes, and that will change depending on what stage of the mission we're in. So keep an eye on that to see how much we are speeding up here. This is a 28 Starlink mission this year and the 8th flight of this first stage booster. The first flight was for the Crew Dragon mission about a year ago. You can see that they're rolling the strong back and getting the engine ready to go at T-1 minute. The autonomous launch computer will take over the countdown and control it all from there. You'll see the fairings showing there on either side of the satellites, protecting them. This is a second flight for these particular fairings.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
Falcon 9 is pitching downrange.
Amazing liftoff. I love that they have a camera attached to this orbital booster. It gives such incredible views of the takeoff. Absolutely magnificent. We're already 10 kilometers up and close to 2,000 kilometers per hour, just so fast. And of course, as it pulls away from the Earth and exits the Earth's atmosphere, gives an incredible view how quickly it gets up there. We're just 2 minutes into this mission, and it's already way up in the air, providing us with magnificent views. We're coming up to the point now where we're going to shut off the main engines, or MECO they call it, main engine cutoff. And at this point, we're going to separate the two stages. So the first stage is going to go back to Earth and land, and the second stage is going to start up its Merlin vacuum engine, or MVAC. So you'll see that the second engine is started, and the cold gas thrusters on the first stage are starting to orient it correctly, and the grid fins are deploying, which are going to help stabilize it as it falls down towards the drone ship. So even though the second engine is burning and it's accelerating now that it's exited the Earth's atmosphere, we no longer need the fairings to protect the satellites. So next up, we're going to deploy these fairings, and these should also be recovered from the ocean as well. This is a camera view from inside that gives you a view of the Starlink satellites. Unfortunately, we can't see the other two rideshare satellites. So the first stage booster continues coasting after it has separated. And obviously gravity is going to pull it back towards Earth. So it kind of peaks out at about 118 kilometers altitude and then starts falling back towards the Earth. You can see it actually accelerating. Obviously we don't want it to burn up in the atmosphere. So as it approaches the atmosphere, the cold gas thrusters are going to orient it correctly, and then it's going to fire up its engines temporarily for an entry burn to slow it down so it doesn't burn up in the atmosphere. After that initial burn, which has been completed now, it's going to just slow down from air friction as it falls towards the Earth and aims towards this football-sized drone ship floating in the ocean. We can watch this in real time. I just find this so fascinating that this huge, tall ship is going to deploy its landing legs, fire up its final landing burn, and come to rest on the drone ship. Amazes me every single time. Meanwhile, out in space, we have our second stage, which has shut off its second stage engine, so it's just coasting right now. I apologize that this is a little choppy, but at 100 times, the views that they were showing, beautiful views from the satellites, I really recommend. If you want to see those, you watch the complete video, which will be linked below. After it's finished this coasting phase, it's going to actually have a short few second burn on the second engine. So you can see they've fired up the engine just briefly. And then they're going to deploy the 2 rideshare satellites. Now we don't have any camera views of those satellites, but you can see that there's a little spin that they add to the second stage to help separate the satellites from it. And they've now deployed both of those satellites. And they're going to continue coasting until it's time to deploy the Starlink satellites. Just incredible views of the Earth though. As we approach the deployment of the satellites, I'm going to let the Starlink webcast folks describe that to you. If you enjoyed this, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot.
Starlink deploy confirmed.
And we've confirmed deploy of the Starlink satellites. Now you can see the satellites, the Starlink satellites out in space drifting away from the second stage. As a reminder, this is just their drop-off orbit. Shortly, they will deploy their solar array, and over the next few days and weeks, they will distance themselves from each other and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way into operational orbit.
And with that, we'll bring our webcast to a close for today. Thank you to the Range and FAA for supporting today's mission. If you're interested in Starlink service, head over to starlink.com and sign up. Thanks for joining us, and have a good evening.